Hi everyone. In this video, we are going to discuss how to upload a file in Selenium. First, let us understand what the significance of uploading a file in Selenium. Let me show you an example. So here in this web page, we wanted to upload a file. So you can see, right, uploading a resume. And how do we do that? For that, we need to click on this choose CV, right? So this is something like a button, right? So if you click on that, you see a Windows pop-up here, right? So how are we going to provide the file path here? So if you remember, Selenium is used to actually automate the web elements on the web browser. But how do we handle this Windows pop-up, right? Which is coming from the operating system. So Selenium can't actually directly interact with this pop-up, Windows pop-up, right? But we still wanted to automate uploading a file into this web page. So how are we going to deal with it? So this is a challenge, right? So how are we going to deal with this challenge is, so there are like three different ways we can achieve automating the uploading file in Selenium. So using SendKeys method, which is a built-in method in Selenium. There is a second way, which is called AutoIT. It is a software. And the third way is using robot class, which is part of the AWT package in Java. Now let us understand each way one by one. So first let us go through SendKeys. So let's go back to the previous example and let's inspect this web element, choose CV, right? So let me bring this to below here, and what I can do is, let me maximize this. So I'm zooming in. Now let's see. So if you see here, this is the div, and let's go inside it. So you see input, right? Input tag, and you see input type equal to file, right? So there is no way we can actually treat this as an input. Like what I mean to say is you can't actually input something into it. See, as soon as I click here, the pop-up gets open, right? The pop-up gets open. There we need to provide the path of the file. Now we wanted to inspect this element. So if you observe this here, if you see this choose CV, right? So it's an input. It has an input tag, and you can see type. You can also see one attribute type equal to file, right? So if you can see this while uploading a file, then we can actually use the SendKeys method. So SendKeys method can actually pass the path of the file when you have the input tag with attribute type equal to file. So we are going to use SendKeys method now and automate this web page to upload the file, right? So let's start automating this. So you can see here, I already created a file, class file, and you can see my main method has like, I have initiated or set the property of Chrome driver to the Chrome executable, created a WebDriver instance and instantiated it to the Chrome driver so that the Chrome browser window gets open and it gets maximized, right? Now let's navigate to this URL, and then we wanted to inspect this, right? So you can see we wanted to click on this. So copy XPath, driver.find element. We can use XPath dot, we wanted to use SendKeys here, and then pass some file path. So I'm going to pass some file path here. So let me pass this, my resume, right click, holding shift key, right click, copy as path, right? And put it here. So we are going to pass this file. So we are providing the complete absolute path here of the file, right? And actually this we'll send, and we wanted to click on the upload, or we'll just pass this, right? So that we can verify it. Let me show you how we do it manually. See, it takes some time, and you can see this is how it actually gets uploaded, right? So this is what we are going to automate now. Now we found the element. See, this was the element, right? And dot send keys. So we are using send keys method to pass the path of the file. So let me execute this code now. Oh, we didn't save it. And you can see the URL gets open. Yes, done, right? So using SendKeys method, we were able to upload the file onto this web page, right? Using the SendKeys method, right? So for this, the only requirement will be like input the element, upload or the browse one, right? So it has to be have, input tag with type equal to file attribute, right? So that we already saw. Let me show you again. Okay, we just need to refresh this, and I'll just remove this. You can see the input, right? Input is a tag type equal to file, right? So if you see this, then we can use the send keys method to upload the file. So this is one method. Now let's understand the second method of uploading the file using AutoIT. That is, AutoIT is a software which is used to automate the Windows graphical user interface, right? So let me take another example for that and show you. So I'm navigating to some other website. It provides the sample credentials here. I'm logging into it. And you can see something called PIM, right? And add employee. So you see choose file here, right? So again, like we wanted to add an employee details here. So you can give some details here like this, and then choose file. So employee ID, so you can leave it like that, whatever is the default one. And you see photograph, right? So click on choose file. Now we need to choose a file for the photographs. You can also see which are the accepted extensions here, right? So I'll click on choose, and I can actually choose some image, right? Like this. I can choose, right? Or I can actually choose any image and just say save here. Let's say, for example, I'll choose some image like this, okay, and just say save. Then it uploads, so it says fail. Yeah, so so I actually give the wrong extension, which is not acceptable, right? So let me give some valid one and show you. Selenium, something like this, and say save. Okay, these are mandatory. Full name, provide some first name and last name, and just say save. So it gets uploaded and the employee gets added. You can see here, right? So this is the file which I uploaded, right? So this is how we can upload manually. But now we wanted to automate this process. We know how to enter this first name and last name here. As these are input fields, we can easily automate this to provide the values in it. But how do we automate this choose file? Again, we can use the send keys, but we wanted to see the second different way how to actually upload the file, right? So for that we have chosen AutoIT. So AutoIT, as I said, it's a software used to automate the Windows GUI. So Windows is an operating system and it has some user interfaces, right? Like whatever elements you see within the Windows operating system, this Windows pop-ups, folders, everything. So all this can be automated using this software called AutoIT. So AutoIT is an open source. So just type AutoIT in Google and just select the first link in it. You see AutoIT here, right? So it's an open source. Go to downloads and you can actually download this AutoIT. So what's the use of this AutoIT is, so you see we get a pop-up here, right? Now we are going to automate this using AutoIT software. So, and then what we do is, so AutoIT is a software. which has editor and also the with some other software we are going to actually locate the elements on the windows. So with these two we are going to write a script in the AutoIT and then call this script from our Selenium script, right? So that is what we are going to do now. And for that, what are the steps? Let me write the steps here. So the first step will be we are going to download AutoIT as it's open source, so we can download it. So no problem. Install AutoIT. Then next step will be we need to write the script. So script to provide the path into this window, right? So for that we need the editor, right? So once we install AutoIT, we get the editor. I'm going to show you that, but this will be the steps we are going to follow now in sequence. Editor. And how do we locate these elements? So we need this text box, right? File name, and we need this open button once we provide the path. So this we need to locate. For that, AutoIT gives us the another software to actually locate the elements. So I'll say locate element, then write the script in the editor. So we write the script and then we compile the script so that an exe file gets generated. Then we are going to use this exe file in Selenium script. Use exe file in our Selenium code. So we are going to integrate this AutoIT file with the Selenium code. So now let us follow all these steps one by one and complete automating the uploading file using AutoIT software. So the first step is downloading AutoIT, right? So let's do that. So just click on this download AutoIT, right? So that you get the software in a zip file. You can see here. So it's of size around 13 MB. So once it is downloaded, we need to extract it as it is a zip file. We are going to extract it. Yeah, it is taking a while. So we just need to wait till the complete zip file is downloaded. Yeah, you can see it got downloaded, right? So now let's extract the file. Extract this zip file. You get a folder, right? You get a folder first like this, and inside it you see an AutoIT version 3 setup.exe file, right? So just right click on this and run as administrator. So we are going to install AutoIT now as a first step to automate uploading file using AutoIT software, right? So you can just click next. I agree. And you see two options here. Use native x64 tools by default or x86 tools by default. And this is recommended for compatibility. So choose the second option and just click on next, run the script. So, and just select next again. It's by default as we selected x86 32-bit. So it is going to install at this location. You can just select the default one and just click on install. It takes around like half a minute maybe to complete the installation. So once the installation is completed, so we'll go back to the next step. So download IT, install IT is completed, AutoIT is completed. Now we'll actually see what is editor and what is locate element, right? Yeah, you can see the installation is done. So you can just say finish here and navigate to the installation location. So let me navigate to the installation location. You can see AutoIT 3 here, right? So open it and you can see number of files here, right? So you can see AU3 info underscore x64.exe here, right? So this is the file we need to actually open to locate the element. Right click, run as administrator, and you see a editor here. Sorry, this is not the editor. This is the window, right? So which is used to actually locate the elements on the window. For example, let's go back to our example. So if I click on this, you get a window pop-up right here. So you see a finder tool here, right? So hold, click and hold the left mouse here, left click on this tool, and then you just need to hover on any of the element you wanted to look the properties for. I'm actually uh, hold, I click the tool and actually released on this file name box, right? So you can see here, it just says combo box. Okay, I just, yeah, you can see it here, right? So the properties of this file name or this text box, you can see it's called, it's the class of it is edit and the instance of it is one. So it just says it's an edit box and the instance of it is one, right? So these details we needed to write the script, right? Now, how are we going to write the script? Let me show you that. So when we clicked on this AU3 info underscore x64.exe, we got the tool to locate the element on the window, upload file window, right? Now we wanted an editor to write the script, right? So for that, you can see SCITE, right? So open this folder and you can see the exe file here. Again, run this file so that the script editor gets open, right? So this is where, this is the place where we are going to write the script, right? But how are we going to write the script? So this is in basic language, and you don't need to worry. We just need the need to know the basic commands to automate this window, right? Uploading a file, right? So let me go back and show you. So what all we need here? So we don't need complete window here, right? So what we need, we wanted to pass the file path here in this file name text box, and then we just wanted to click on this button with label open, right? So that's what we wanted to do now. So let's do that now. So I hover on this box, you see this here, right? So it just says edit. Edit is the class, right? Instance is the one. Here we can see number of other properties as well. So let me open the script editor here. So if you observe, the first thing we are doing here is we are focusing our control, right? So AutoIT is used to actually automate the mouse and keyboard events, right? On the Windows GUI, right? So now we wanted to automate this pop-up for uploading the file. You can see here, right? So what is the first thing we need to do here to provide the path? Even manually also, we just focus our mouse and click here, right? First thing we need to focus our mouse and actually click here, right? Or hover the mouse here at the file name text box, right? So let's first automate that. This is the script editor. So we wanted to write the script for, right? So first to focus focus our mouse over there, we need to use the command control focus. So first we need to focus, right? Control focus. So let me again show you what are the steps here. So we are writing the script here using in AutoIT editor. So what are we going to do here is we wanted to focus mouse onto this file name box. Then second step will be setting the text, that is file path. Then clicking on this open button, right? So these are the three steps. Let me put it here. So within the editor, again, we have three steps, right? The first step is focusing. Focusing the mouse onto the text box, and here set file path. Then click on the open button, right? So these are the three steps we wanted to write the script for using AutoIT edit in the AutoIT editor, right? So let's do that now. And before that, let's save this file save. So just provide some name to it. I'll just name it as file upload dot, but make sure you have the extension as AU3. So this is mandatory so that we can compile this file later. File upload.au3 save. So the file got saved now. Control focus, right? Now you can see it actually suggests you what are the parameters you need to pass. Title of the window. So let's go back. The title of the window is, you can see here, it is on the top, OPEN, open, right? So let's put that here in the title place. And the second parameter is text. So we can just leave it, blank. And then the third parameter is what's the control ID or the element I wanted to focus on, right? So what's this element that we need to actually find it out using the editor. So finder tool, when you focus here, right? So carefully focus on this. So why I'm getting combo box here is I'm actually navigating that through this all files combo box. That's the reason we are getting the classes combo box. So see carefully over on this. You see the class name here, edit, right? And the instance is one. So instance is the number of or the order of this edit box, right? So it's the first instance. So edit one. So this is what we are going to use in the script now. So edit one is the control ID. So this becomes a control ID. So you can see the parameters here, right? So it just says title, open is the title of the window, text we just ignored, and control ID. Control ID is the combination of class and the instance, right? Class was edit, instance was one, right? That's it. We already completed first step, focusing the mouse, right? Next, set file path. For that, we use control set text. And you can see the parameters. First will be the title, text we are going to ignore, control ID. Control ID is where we are going to, provide the element. That is, again, it will be edit one. We focused on edit one. Edit one is the text box here. You can see this one, right? So again, we wanted to pass here itself. We focused here and we wanted to set the text also here, right? So that we are going to do. See, the first one title, text we will ignore. Control ID will be edit one again. New text, whatever text you wanted to pass on to that element, right? That we are going to pass the file path, which we wanted to upload. So 4 parameters we are going to pass. Let me put it here. So the title doesn't change. It will be open. Text you can ignore. So control ID will be edit one. Control ID is simple, like what's the element where you wanted to set the text for. So it will still be same, edit one, where we focused in the last step, right? And the fourth parameter is what you wanted to set. So we wanted to set the path. So I wanted to set this file path. So right click, copy as path and put it here. That's it. So we are done with second step as well. Now click on open, right? Once we provide the path here, so like this, then we wanted to click on this button, open, right? So let's actually locate this button. So you can see the name of or the class of this open is button and the instance is again one. So this is how we need to use this tool to actually find the or locate the elements on this window, right? So you can see the button one, right? So it is button one. Now let's go back to the script and complete the third step. Control, what we wanted to do, we wanted to click on that button. Click, control click, and you see the parameters again. Title, text, control ID. Control ID this time will be button one. That's it. All other are optional parameters. So we are going to pass 3 parameters to it. Again, title will be the open window. Text we are going to ignore. And the third parameter is button one. So it's a combination of class and the instance. So that becomes a control ID. That's it. So these are the 3 lines we are going to write the script for to actually upload or set the file path onto this Windows pop-up, right? Windows box. Right. Now, so these actions will be done very quick, right? So let's add some sleep time here. Just to make sure each action is done perfectly. So we just add some wait time. So sleep off. Let's add some delay. I'm going to add 1000 milliseconds, which is 1 second after each step. All right. So once we are done with this, right? So these three steps, so it has to set the path of the file, right, into this window. It also clicks on the open so that the file gets uploaded. And finally, we are going to save the button, right? That we will anyway do it with Selenium. All right, now let me save this file. And what is the next step? So this step is completed in the editor. We already used the locator or the tool, right, to locate the elements. We already wrote the script as well. Now we need to compile to generate the exe file. Let's compile the file. So how to compile the file? So this is the place where we saved the file. If you observe here, right click on this file upload.au3 file, and you see options here: compile script, run script, right? So just select compile script with x64. So I am choosing x64 as my system is like 64-bit one. So how do you find that? Is go to this PC, right click, properties. You see here, right? It's a 64-bit operating system type. So that's how you need to find your system, if it is 64-bit or 32-bit. Right click on this, compile scripts x64. So you see an exe file got generated here, right? So this is the file we'll be using in our Selenium script to actually execute this script, which we wrote in this editor in AutoIT, right? That's it. So if you go back, we compiled, we got the exe file. Now we are going to use this exe file in Selenium code. That we'll see how to do that, right? Now let's start automating it, right? Let me take the copy of it. I think I already created the class for it. So you can see I've created a class for it, and I've set I just close the editor, so we don't need it now. We already have the script now, and we already compiled the code, and we already have the exe file. We just need to use this exe file in our Selenium code. And for that, we need to automate this one, right? So we were here, open source. We need to provide the credentials first, right? So let me log out. First, we need to provide this URL, and then we need to log in, right? So let's do that. So I navigated to that URL, and then we'll log into this. So I'll just do this very quick. You can see here, input name or ID. We can use either ID or name here, and you see password here. Password also, we can either use ID or name here, right? So let's use ID, text username and text password, right? So driver dot find element by dot ID. Let's use ID. Is a username. So what's the username? SendKeys. Admin is the username, right? You can see the sample one is provided above. The password is admin123, right? By dot ID, and this is password. Password is admin123, right? Now we need to click on the login button. By dot. Yeah, we can use again ID. And we will click on this login button, right? We are logged into this now. We are logged into this website. Once we logged in, we wanted to click on this PIM, right? So let's also identify this. Locate this element PIM. You can see again, we can use the ID here. So I can use ID here. By dot ID. We need to click on this. So let's click on this PIM. Then once we click on this, you see add employee, right? So we wanted to locate this add employee as well. and add employee is an anchor tag. So we can actually use this as a link text. By dot, I'm going to use link text, add employee dot. We need to click on this. Now we get this pop-up or this add employee web page, right? Now we provide as first name and last name are mandatory. Let's provide that in the full name. So again, like you can see, we can use ID for the first name and last name. By dot ID, first name dot SendKeys. You can provide some text here, right? I'm providing my first name, and you can provide the last name as well. As these two are mandatory, I'm providing these two. And once we provide this, now we need to choose this file. See, it's also type equal to file. We can even use the SendKeys, but we wanted to see how we can do it with AutoIT, right? So you can say ID equal to photo file. So let me again use ID here. We wanted to click on this, right? Click. All right. Yeah, at least let's execute till here and check if it is going well or not. So we just automated the code, or we just automated to log in and then click on the add employee button, right? So let's see now. We got some issue, session not created. Why is this happened? Let's see. Any issues? Okay, this has to be Chrome version 100. All right. Now you can see it started, it opened the URL. It logs in and should click on PIM, add employee. Yes. Yes, see it provides full name as well, and it should click on choose file. But if you observe, it was not able to click on this because you know uh, when you see input tag and type equal to file, right? So it actually can't click on that element, on that web element. So we need to choose an alternative. That is, let me show you. See, wherever I click here, right? So this whole thing is inside this input tag, right? So we need to check if clicking anywhere actually opens that pop-up, right? So if you see here, if I click on this photograph, also it is getting open, right? So let's choose this. So what I mean to say here is this is all comes under input tag, right? So you can't actually click here to actually see that pop-up, right? So what we are choosing as an alternative is we are choosing somewhere. So if you click somewhere here, and if it is getting open, then we'll choose that web element now. So you can see label, right? So let's choose this label here. So instead of ID, I'm going for XPath. Or let's actually select selector sub. I'm not able to scroll up. All right, let's actually take this path, XPath itself as is, okay? And let's try now. Yeah, so the window got open now, right? Now we can actually use the code which I have written in the AutoIT editor, right? So the script has been compiled and we got the exe file. Now let's actually use use that. So how do we call that script? We use a class called runtime dot get runtime dot execute, and we need to send it as a string command, right? So we just need to pass the parameter or the file path here. What file path? Not the file which we wanted to upload. Remember the exe file which we generated, right? We compiled and we got this exe file when we compile the script, AutoIT script, right? Then we got this exe file. This exe file we need to provide here. So to actually execute that exe file, we need to use this runtime class and the method get runtime dot exe, right? Exec method. So let's provide this exe file path. Copy as path and provide this path. So that what happens here is still here we understood, right? So the window got popped up. Now what should happen after this? The file path has to be provided. So for this, there are 3 steps: control focus, and then provide the path, and then click on the open button. So this we already automated and had that in an exe file. So how do we execute it? Is this line. So you can see this line, right? So this line actually tells you how to actually call that or execute that file. So just click on add throws declaration. All right, so we are done with it. So once we execute this code, so let's have some sleep time before we click on the save button. So let's say, for example, let's wait for some 5 seconds and then we are going to click on the save button. So let's go back and inspect this save button. You can see, let's take ID here as well. And then we are going to click on the save button, which actually uploads the file. Right? So the main part here is out of the whole code or this program, this line, right? So how do you execute the script which you compiled using AutoIT, right? So this is the line. So this is very important here. Now let us see. Yeah, it logs in, it clicks on PIM, add employee, and then it provides the details. You see, it opened the pop-up and it has to provide the path there. It focused. Okay, seems like we have some issue here. Line 2, error parsing function call. Let us check the script once again. So it says line 2 has some problem, right? Yeah, so if you observe, there are 2 braces open. So we need to only have one bracket, right? So to actually open brace and close brace. So we had 2. So that's the reason we got the parsing error. So I just corrected it and saved it. Now let's go back and compile it again. So compile the file, compile script x64. Now we got the new one. So let's go back to the script and execute it again. So the script has to be compiled and parsed correctly. Only then the script gets executed fine, or else we'll get issues like this. So now it is waiting, it is focused. See, it provided the path. Perfect. It actually provided the path. It waits for 5 seconds and it clicked on save. And you can see the file here. This is the file which we provided, right? And it got uploaded successfully. So this is how you can actually, upload a file using AutoIT software, right? Now let us see the third way using robot class. Let me show you. And for that, let me show you another example. So you can see here, it has an upload file here, right? So click on that. And you can provide any file here, right? So let me provide some file here. when you provide some file, so the contents of the file will be displayed here, right? So again, if you observe, if you click on upload file, we get an pop-up. So how do, or a Windows pop-up, right? So how do we handle this? Using robot class this time, right? So let's see that now. Let's quickly start writing the code for that. As it's a class, we just need to use the methods in that class. So what I'm going to do here is I'll just copy that file here and we'll name it as upload file robot class, and we'll just remove these two lines. Get this URL, and then we need to close this, right? So or else what happens is this is overlaid on this, right? So first we need to close this using this by clicking on this cross mark. So first let's inspect this element and click on that so that that will be closed, right? So this is an image. Find element by .xpath, and we will click on this image. Once we are done with that, then we'll actually click on the upload file. We'll just do this one and then upload file. Dot click. Once we get the window, or what we'll do is till here, let's execute and verify. Yeah, we got the pop-up, right? So we wanted to handle this window using robot class now. All right. So for that, what we'll do is, let me show you. We need to use the robot class, right? So robot is a class which is present in the AWT package of Java, right? So we create an object of robot. So carefully import it from the java.awt package, right? So it's a class from the java.awt package. So just add the exception here, add throws declaration, right? Now we'll use this object rb dot, or first we need to, how this works is, so we wanted to, we'll set the path. So the final goal is we wanted to set the file path onto this text box, right? So this is what we wanted to do. So what we'll do here using robot class is we actually get the copy or get the file and copy it into the clipboard, right? And then clipboard is simple. I'll show you. So what we are going to do is, right? So we'll just right click on it, or so right click copy. What happens when you copy this is, so you see the mouse, right? Mouse cursor. So that's copied into that. That's called clipboard. So we actually copy the path into the clipboard and then paste it here into this box, right? So once this is open, we'll do paste, right? Right click paste, or we can do control V, right? So that is what we are going to do using the robot class. Let me show how we do that. RB dot, or first we need to get the path, right? So for that, we are going to use a class called string selection. So string selection equal to new string selection. We are going to create an object of that and copy the path here. So the path of the file which we wanted to upload. So let me upload this. Let me copy this as this path and then pass it on to this string selection. Now we wanted to pass this onto the clipboard. That is simple. It's an equivalent of control C, so that it's there on the clipboard, so that later we will do control V, right? So for that, we'll use a class called toolkit dot get default toolkit dot get system clipboard. These are all the classes and the methods which are available in java.awt. Set contents string, and then you can pass the second parameter as null. So this is how we actually get this path onto the clipboard. Clipboard is just an equivalent of Control C. Just assume it like that. Now we have that onto the clipboard. Now we just need to do Control V to provide the path onto that file name, this place, right? So when you click on this upload, so this is the place where the cursor is waiting for, right? So then we can just do Control V like this, right? So that's what we wanted to do now. So let's do that using the robot class. Robot class dot, it has some methods. So let me show you. Key press is a method where we can provide the key event or a key event. So which key you wanted to use? Key event is a class. Key event dot. There are some values, some constant values, right? Control. We wanted to have control V, right? So control, and then key press V, right? So VK underscore V. This is another constant. So control and then V. Both we wanted to press. So key press is a method which actually presses the keys. Which are the keys we wanted to press? Control and V. And for that we use the key event class. Key event is a class where all these are declared as all these keys, keyboard keys are declared as the constants. So you can also view this here, right? These are static final variables. You can see each has its ASCII value assigned to it, right? So we can directly use them. Once we do Control V, we just pressed it, right? Now we wanted to release it. Only then it will do an action of paste, right? Key release. What do you release? Whatever you press, release that. Control and then Control V. These two we pressed, so we released it, right? Now what we wanted to do, finally we wanted to hit enter. Once you actually provide the path here, then you wanted to hit enter. Hitting enter or clicking on open, both are same. So let's do enter. For that, again, key press, key event dot vk underscore enter is the static final variable here we need to use to press the enter key. So we pressed it. We also need to release it. So let's use release here. That's it. This is what we did here, right? So it's very simple. If you observe, we just created an object of a robot, and these two lines are the new things here. And these two also, why did we use? We used string selection class to pass the file path, and then we use toolkit class and all these methods you see here, right? So these were used to actually copy this path onto the clipboard. Now we have it on the clipboard, that is Control C. Now we just need to do Control V. So how do we do that Control V? These are the steps to automate that. So we used robot class object to do that, right? Key press is the pressing the key both. So we actually use key press 2 times to actually press both Control and V. Then we release that. So releasing that is, you press Control V and you release it, right? So then the path which were in the clipboard gets copied onto the file name. And then we need to hit enter. So hitting enter is pressing the enter key, right? Pressing is like press and release. So that's the reason we are using two methods here. So let's execute now and verify. Now the first part, it has to close this box. So let's go back. Seems like there is an issue with this image. Okay. Let's read what the issue is. No such element. Okay. So it was not able to identify that element. So again, we need to go back, refresh this page. Inspect this element. Copy related path. Let's try now again. Yeah, this time it's able to, yes, it was very fast, but that's the reason we need to add wait time, but it actually worked out, right? It closed it, it actually opened the window. So let's add some wait time of 2 seconds so that at least we can view what's happening. So I'm executing the code again, so you can see it here now. It opens, it closes that cross mark. It actually clicks on the cross mark, it opens, you can see that it opens the upload file and it actually copied the path onto it. So you can see the actual contents also here. This is like my YouTube playlist. All these are the playlists of my YouTube. You can see it here. The contents has been copied onto this window, right? So this is how we can actually use the robot class to upload the file. So in this video, we have seen how to upload a file in Selenium in 3 different ways. So first we covered using SendKeys method, which is a default method available in Selenium. Then we saw AutoIT. AutoIT is a software which is used to automate Windows GUI. And we have seen in detail steps how to do that, right? And then finally we saw robot class, which is the class present in the AWT package of Java to automate the uploading of file in Selenium. So that's all for this video. Thanks for watching.